been a Feldenkrais practitioner since 1993, and it was lovely to see Paul and Linda here, because talking about fear, I was one of the people that went along to I was most fearful of public speaking, and I knew I'd have to be able to do so to teach this work. And I went along, and I'll always feel so grateful to them for their loving care of me, this middle-aged woman who wanted to speak in public, to be able to teach this work that I'd grown to love. Feldenkrais is about learning, and you say it like Rice at the end. Amazing that Adrian Rice had that saying that it's K-R-A-I-S, but if you say it like that, it sounds like a silent T, and that's where people get the religious connotation from. It's not, it's Feldenkrais, R-I-C-E, and that just makes it easier to specify. It's about learning, like everything that we're hearing here today is about learning. With this learning, we use movement. It's organic learning, like Margaret spoke about, things that are organic. If we're given the opportunity, the way of moving will become easy and graceful. And I'm saying graceful because it's not about floating and floating like this. It's about being able to move without pain, with great ease in life. Now, I understand that this is not for everybody, but it can be for everybody. A lot of people would choose other ways of learning. Feldenkrais himself came into doing this. His name was Moshe Feldenkrais, and he came into doing it because he'd hurt himself. Like most of us, when we hurt ourselves, we look for answers, and he started to look for answers. He was a physicist. He was one of the people who was introducing sonar in Great Britain to the submarines. He was a teacher. He was a black belt, even then, black belt in France. He got his black belt in France in judo, and he started to look at himself and say, how come he had bad accidents playing soccer, great soccer player, and he'd injured both his knees, and they had told him that the only thing they could do for him was to replacement knees. And in the early 1940s, it was nothing like it is today, I can tell you. He's going to have less than 50% chance of walking, and he said, but what I don't understand is why this knee will hurt one day. He said, and the next day this one will hurt. He said, if they're both as bad, why don't they both hurt at the same time? And he said, there's something going on here. And he started to examine himself. He started to examine when he was holding his breath. You must remember too that people like Alexander were around, the Alexander technique, which was all about posture and standing. So using some of those thoughts, he started to examine himself. And one of the amazing things that came out of it for him, he found that not only did never actually got better, but he was able to walk without pain and never required surgery. But he had this funny little walk like this. You know, he walked like this, very wide-legged. But he said it's not about perfection. He said it's about ease and finding a way where we can function in life at our very best level, given a person's situation. And so that's what we do. And one of the things that has come out of all this, and Lionel and his wonderful memory and his stories that I have a tendency to forget, is one man came to the classes and he had a neurological disability. But they brought him along, carers brought him along and plonked him down on the floor, and this was his posture. John, what a guy. And then he'd start to shake if anybody said anything or looked at him. Anyway, he lay down on the floor and we did the classes. About 45 minutes they are, sometimes in sitting, sometimes in standing, sometimes lying down on the floor on your side or on your back. And he did, all you have to do in a class, which I'll do a little bit with you in a minute, is to do what you hear. Do what you hear, and then a practitioner is there is to support what you're doing and to perhaps offer alternative suggestions. But John, after coming for about 18 months, he came in one day with his carer, and he came in. Hi. I nearly fell over. He spoke to me for the first time. Hi. He sort of looked like this. I said, so you're going to come do some more today, John? He said, yeah. The next day he came in, next week he came in, he said, hi, Rita. Oh, I thought, this was the sort of growth I'm talking about. We all have the potential to learn and grow and improve at every level. These wonderful levels here, like Margaret was talking about, the part I heard to overcome or to face our fears, like Paul is talking about, to feel the energetic response in the body from doing Tai Chi. We all have the capacity to learn and improve at any age. Lionel mentioned somebody at 77, learning and improving. I have one lady in the class who's just approaching her 84th birthday, Ruby. Who knows Ruby? We know Ruby. And Ruby will swear by this work. And she's a sprightly, energetic woman. And her tone of the conversation is, I do all sorts of things. But she says, Feldenkrais makes me feel. And we learn to feel what we're doing. We learn to feel in ourselves where we're not moving when we could be. So I'm going to get you to do that right now. I'm going to stop talking. And as we go along, so I want you to put your both feet flat on the ground in front of you. Come to the front of your chair so your back is not attached to the back of your chair. If that is not possible, sit where you are. Okay, very simple. Place your hands on your lap. And we just go. I just want to show you something, because this is something you can take with you when you go out of this room. This is not something that's useless. Who drives a car? This will help you drive your car better. Okay, I want you to turn around and look to your right. And back to the front. Do that a couple of times and just see how far you go with your turning. Yeah, and back to the front. And then turn around and look to your left and see, do you do it differently? Is something different looking left to right? Do you go further one way than and not as far the other way? So this time, let's see. Yeah, fold our arms. Fold our arms. And this time I want you to turn around, but I want you to turn around with the front of your body. So you turn to the right with the front of your body. Just turn right around, using your body. Now you're going further than just using your head. And come back to the front. So think of your arms leading the way. Think of the arms are going to lead the way. Think of your arms leading your way to the right, not the head. Let the head go with the neck. That's it. And back again. That's it. Put your arms down. Now, turn around and look to the right. Are you using your chest? Are you using your shoulders like you were? Can you do that without your arms folded? So you turn and look to the right, allowing your chest to turn. There you are, and your shoulders. And keep looking. Turn your head now a little. And back to the front. Now, I could say to you, what is there about turning to the right? Why, when we do this, most of us will simply go. What is it that there is about us that cuts us off our turning to here? Quite often it's simply habit. We've learned to immobilize parts of our bodies, and by the Feldenkrais class helps you remember what it is to move in general. Remember that there's much more to you than just, people say they get sore necks, no wonder. Honest to goodness, no wonder. Okay, so put your arms out here like this, so they're up the front here. Come onto the front of your chair. This time you're going to go to the left. So turn around with the elbows leading the way to the left. Let the elbows carry you as far around as you can go and back to the front. And again, back to the same side. Yeah, turn around and lead the way and back to the front. Put your arms down. Sit back a minute. And there's one more part about turning that's going to make it easier for you. Can you imagine being able to look to the left when you want to change lanes easily, so that you don't only have to flick your head and try and get your head around, but you could actually go, whoa, how easy and how great would that be? There's many people that are being told they can't drive cars because they can't turn. Quite often it's about not knowing what's available to you with your body movement. Okay? So I'm just thinking about the arms again. I know. Cross your arms over like this. Give yourself a big hug. Come to the front of your chair. And have your feet down on the ground. And begin to lead the way now with both elbows to the right. To the right. Lead the way with both elbows. Turn as much as you can. Feel that your hands can ask the shoulders to come round. Now and back to the front. Now this time as you lead the way around to the right with your elbows, can you actually move your left knee? Look at this. Slide your left knee forward as you move. So you look at the knees sliding. Let your knees move forward. Feel that helps you to turn further, because you've been introducing the movement now, the muscular movement from your head down your back, thoracic area, down into your pelvis, which is where the spine begins, the tailbone. So you're beginning to turn the whole of your back. So when I say turn around, bring your arms down, turn around and look to the right. Woo! And people start to spin around. Think always that in moving, the head is just the very, very top of the spine, being held in place with this tiny little occiput. And that's the very thinnest part of your spine. So if we try to only turn from there, it's a very hard job. The body carries the head. So when you want to turn, turning to the right, this and the pelvis, this and the pelvis are what help you to move more effectively. And I love being effective. I love it. I love not struggling. I love not straining. I love not having to push myself because I haven't got a clue what I'm doing. So learning these skills, and this is just one of the great skills. I remember a woman got off the floor the other day when I said, everybody stand up, where does your attention go? Now she's knee high to a grasshopper, about your height. This lovely, compact woman she is. She said, I don't think I've ever felt so confident. I looked at her, I said, Sue, I said, what do you mean? She said, I just got up on the floor then and I knew I could go and book that holiday. I've never had a holiday by myself and I'm going to go and do it. So, what comes out of our learning is particularly our own. She needed the confidence in her to be able to go and book a holiday for herself. And all of a sudden she'd found something with all this turning and rolling that built up within her that sense that it was possible. She did do it, by the way, and she did have a great time. But the thing was, it comes through in different aspects. There was a woman who came to class and she said, I won't be back after this, Rita. She'd been for about 4 classes. I said, oh, okay. I said, fine. I said, are you going to be doing something else? Yes, she said, I've begun my art classes again. She said, I really had a flat time for 3 years and now I've started again. Who knows? From John being able to speak, this neurologically defeated young man, and being able to speak and not hold great conversations, but to stand there and smile, to Sue feeling confident, to another woman being able to find her creative juices again, I would say, And as I kept doing this, by the way, I got better at public speaking. I just got better at it so that I wasn't so frightened. I'm not even frightened of failing now, at it. So I'm running a workshop on necks and shoulders next Saturday. Starts at 10 o'clock. and it finishes at 12:30, 2.5 hours. And we'll be doing lessons on the floor, and we'll do a little lesson in sitting as well. And so if you want to come along and just find out a little bit more hands-on about what it's about, I'd be delighted to have you there. And if you can get up the stairs, you can probably do the class. There's always someone to help you off the floor if we're doing something on the floor. Chairs and people galore. And if you would like to do that, you're more than welcome. So Lionel, thank you.